All right. While we're adjusting the screen, I'll kick off anyway. It's nice to see a packed room already this early in the morning. Thanks. So we are in the Internet of Things Devroom. Great, the slides are there. So I'm gonna quickly introduce myself, then talk about what the IoD Devroom is about. Then I'll quickly mention Peter Hintjes, but Zubab is gonna do that more explicitly, and then I'll give a short overview of the day. So my name is Maxime Vessant. I'm an electronics and embedded engineer and a hacker. I'm actually a firmware lead right now at a IoT startup company, so that's also why I really love the IoT environment. Right. So let's put this on. I'm involved in a few free and open source software projects, such as PicoTCP, which is a free embedded TCP IP stack. There are going to be talks about this today in this room as well. There's also going to be there's a stand about PicoTCP. I'm also working on FOSDEM, which is a free POSIX operating system for small embedded devices. There's also going to be a talk about that later today. And linked to FOSDEM is Unicore MX, which is actually a core library to support all Hall functions of microcontrollers, or of ARM Cortex M0 up till M7 microcontrollers. That's just briefly who I am and why I'm in this Devroom. Then we have the Internet of Things Devroom. This is the 4th time we're organizing this, and it's the first time I'm hosting the Devroom. And before me, the 3 years earlier, it was Peter Hintjes who hosted this Devroom, and it's because of him that I'm here right now and that we're all here right now. The FOSDEM Devrooms are whole-day tracks, as you know, and they're specifically focused on one topic aimed at developers. The whole FOSDEM is about developers, and that's why we're here. Why now the Internet of Things? As Helen Doos from the University of Cambridge once said, she said, "We have a clear vision to create a world where every object, from jumbo jets to needles, sewing needles, are linked to the Internet." Of course, this has been big words that have been around for a long time now, but I think we're slowly getting there. More and more things are getting connected. There's a lot of trouble with connecting many small things also, but okay, these are all challenges that we have to face. That's what makes this really interesting. We want to have very diverse talks in this Devroom, so when I put out the call for papers, I asked for a few things, like machine-to-machine communication between small devices, distributed application, autonomous or self-control devices, also more infrastructure related, maybe building on the TCP/IP protocol or novelties in that domain, mesh networking, of course, if we have that many devices, message queuing, solving real-life problems with these Internet of Things solutions, interoperability, since we have this many different devices, how are they gonna talk to each other? So this makes for very diverse talks, and maybe even talks that will interact nicely with each other. We'll see what the day brings. Of course, all the presentations here must be fully free and open source software and related to software development. Then this is Peter Hintjes, but since Zubab is going to give a way better presentation about him, I'll keep this really brief. Peter Hintjes was a writer, a programmer, a thinker, and I might even say a visionary. He wrote more than 30 protocols and distributed software. You might know him from AMQP or ZeroMQ. From the many books he wrote, they're all excellent. I read all of them except one. This one, which I should read, I just heard, so I'm going to do that. He was the president of a foundation for free information infrastructure. He fought for software patents. He was in the standardization of the Microsoft OXML Office format and so much more. And like I said, he organized this Devroom for the last 3 years, and we want to keep this tradition going in respect to him, and of course because it's a great Devroom. Then in April 2016, he was diagnosed with terminal metastasis of his previous cancer, and that's why later today, and also still a little bit now, we will have a small in memoriam for Peter Hinchen. So if you're interested, be sure to be in the K building at 6 o'clock this evening. But now let's continue with the overview of the day. So just very quickly, you all have the booklets, of course, but what are we going to talk about? The first talk after this is going to be about coffee machines speaking bokeh or boche. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's about the Modbus protocol. Then we have a demo where we are playing with lights. So IoT is all about connecting all kinds of stuff, and of course lights, LEDs, bigger lights are fun to play with. Adam is a project where they're monitoring air quality. Then there's the Eclipse IoT plus Cloud Foundry. They're building a platform specifically for IoT applications. Then there's 6LoWPAN in PicoTCP. So PicoTCP is this library, TCP/IP library that's already there. 6LoWPAN is one of the upcoming protocols that's really focused on the IoT. We have JerryScript, which is a lightweight JavaScript engine. Yocto-based IoT devices. So you might know Yocto, this build environment for building embedded devices. We have the Frosted embedded POSIX operating system. So, okay, this is an operating system, it's POSIX, but it's also very much focused on connectivity and thus Internet of Things. Warp 10 is a bit less embedded, but that's okay. It's about time series analysis. So you're going to get a lot of data out of a lot of Internet of Things devices. What to do with this data, how to represent it. It's usually put into some form of time series, so more about that in this talk. We have Project Lighthouse. We have Scientific MicroPython for microcontrollers. We have IoTivity for devices, from the devices to the cloud. So this is the complete link. And then we have a talk about the Open Smart Grid platform. So this also maybe a little not so small infrastructure, but really smart grid is way bigger. So I think it's a very diverse day that we're looking at. That's it for me. I'm now handing the word to Zubab. Thanks.
Okay, thanks very much.
I'm gonna hand you the mic.
Okay. So, where was it? Come back in 2 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Thanks very much. So, my name is Benjamin Henrion. I'm Belgian, and I was a good friend of Peter. First time I met was in 2005 during the Software Patent Directive. Peter was running a company called iMatics, and they were threatened by a patent troll on a patent around matching a telephone number and an email in the database for an SMS gateway. And I first met him in a small conference where our opponents were trying to break our presentations, and Peter was so furious that he said, "No more slides. I'm going to talk about my own experience." And that was the best speech I've ever saw on the topic. And after that, we started to work together. He recruited me after my university time to be a permanent representative of FFI, the organization that fought against software patents since 1999. And so we made, that was July 2005 when the directive was rejected, and 6 months afterwards, when I started to work with Peter, the Commission announced that they're going to relaunch the debate on the community patent, which was basically the large companies saying we ask to drop this directive project and to push for a central patent court, which would give at the end the same result. And we are, I think, 12 years later, and they are very, very close now to get what they want. Germany and UK with the Brexit are a bit delaying the process, but basically I'm still here 12 years later trying to fight it. We are working with some other people to try to stop it via constitutional complaint in Germany and maybe other countries. So I wanted to say that I organized together with Peter the last 3 years of this Devroom. I was mainly taking care of the video streaming. Peter and I worked. I had the chance to work with Peter last year. I was coming back from Switzerland, where I tried to move there because of the mountains and the nice area over there. It didn't work out, so I was coming back to Belgium, and I was looking for a job. And Peter told me, "Yeah, I have this problem with Android ZeroMQ Java cross compilation. I don't understand anything." I said, "Yeah, I do some embedded development around Opening.mp4. So I said that maybe I can help you to set up the cross compilation with Android SDK and NDK." So that was like November. We did some CMake around that. We did Node.js bindings for ZeroMQ. We worked around Zaire. So Zaire is an interesting protocol for the Internet of Things because it doesn't go in the cloud. It tries to find peers on the LAN, and if it's pre-configured, it can find friendly devices. Like typically, if you have a Samsung machine, a Samsung TV, and a Samsung fridge, if they are connected to the LAN, they will find each other. And we made some interesting demo where maybe I can show this one first. That was one thing we did in February last year, just before FOSDEM. We presented the last presentation of this Devroom. He was quite a good musician, so he wanted to export. It's a MIDI keyboard, so it's a MIDI interface, and he wanted to export the key events through ZeroMQ to a laptop that has the synthesizer. So what I did, was to take one of those devices which are running upon Opening.mp4, which has USB port, and where I could plug in MIDI to USB converter, get the device detected by AMIDI stack, and then taking all the events from the driver, and then pipe that to a ZeroMQ Zaire daemon that we wrote. So there are still traces of that on GitHub. So if you search for MIDIcast on GitHub, you will find the project. So and we got it working, like the hackathon. We organized the hackathon 2 days before FOSDEM, or ZeroMQ hackathon, where all the ZeroMQ people met, and we made some progress on different things. I managed to run Malamute, which is the broker of ZeroMQ, on this device. We managed to crash it as well. And after that, some people came and fixed the fact that you can limit the amount of memory that you allocate to the broker on this device. So that was nice improvement. So yeah, we made this thing, and Murphy, when you try to make a demo, Murphy is always around. And basically the setup is that we were having this device connected to the keyboard, and we had another blue central access point. And we said, oh no, it's okay, we're going to connect to the FOSDEM network. So we connected to the FOSDEM network, but it didn't work. So basically the FOSDEM network block broadcast, and Zaire, since it's sending broadcast, could not connect to the other devices. So we talked. We had again the ZeroMQ hackathon the last 2 days Thanks for the people who joined. They are somewhere in the audience. And we talk about different techniques on how to avoid if the broadcast is blocked. What can we do next? Can we maybe try to go to use other mechanism like gossip, or even go to 88888, trying to find each other, things like that. So that was last year. Last year we also had a winner last year. I think it was from the United States. I don't know if he's here this year, but we had this person making presentation, and he had some nice two suitcase. I think I can recognize a QB board one. There are some here. You have Arduino shield with all the things exposed. You have some Ethernet switch over here, multiple buttons. I see this Intel Quark-based Intel Edison. And this is only one face. There was also the other face and the second one. So that was fun. So in terms of IoT, what happened is that we organized this hackathon in his garage, because he had a garage where we could organize things. We hit it up. The hackathon went fine, FOSDEM went fine, and then we continued to heat it up the garage, and that was basically became our office for like a month and a half. And we were preparing another demonstration of the power of Zaire. So we developed something called GLAR, and GLAR is a daemon that basically runs on the device and can run some commands. Basically, it joins, it finds other peers on the network, on the LAN, and then if some of this other node is in control mode, then it can send commands to the other machines that are on the LAN. So I modified those devices to add a light, a bicycle light, and we put them together on batteries, and we could show, for example, that they could display Morse code at the same time, and if you would remove one node and put it back, it would be back in the cycle of executing commands together. So we prepared this demo for IoT conference in Munich, where he went alone to make the demo. So I was really afraid of Murphy again. So I really prepared everything in advance, and he just had to play the demonstration there. And that was basically his last conference, because when he came back from the IoT conference in Munich, he was really coughing a lot, and I thought it was because of the garage that he got a cold. And then I asked him to visit the doctor, and the results from the visit after 2 weeks of test were not that great, and basically he came back with the news that he had metastasis in both lungs at the time. And Peter had cancer. I mean, he worked for Samsung for some IoT mesh project to be able to put two phones together that they could communicate in a kind of a mesh way. That was in 2009, 2010, and he came back from South Korea with basically a cancer in the duodenum. Apparently he had eaten some crude fish with sushi with crude fish, and apparently in this area it's quite common, this kind of disease. So I visited him at the hospital, and he was kind of yellow, and he was on chemotherapy, but he managed to survive it. And I think from this moment in time, his life changed. he saw that the cancer could come back, and basically for example, he decided to stop entirely writing closed source software. He said free software is the future, and if there is something that needs to survive, it's free software in the long run. And from that moment in time, he spent much more time with his kids. He wrote several books. All the books that he wrote are basically from 2010 on. So I'm going to show you the small demo that we made with the small devices and that we presented in Munich.
Okay, I'm going to explain a little bit more about how this cluster works. This is a TP-Link wireless router. It's been set up, runs on a battery. These LiPo batteries will last for about 12 hours. They're quite nice. The only thing that we don't really like is this cable at the back, but that's still a work in progress. Now, here I have one of these little guys unplugged. So I'm going to plug them in, switch them on, and you will see roughly how long it takes for the network to come up. If you see their little LED light is switched on, let me plug in these in the same way. Okay, so we have 3. This is the 3rd one. And now the 4th one. And what we've done with these is that as they start booting, the LEDs will indicate, but we'll actually have the lights showing. They'll flash once every second as they boot up, and they flash twice when they're ready. So that flashed. That one's going to flash soon. And the other 2 will flash. Ah, there we are. So that's ready. And when they're ready, you'll see on top that there's a little rotating sequence on the LEDs. That's actually the Glard 150 daemon doing the work. And that daemon is a Zaire application which connects to the Wi-Fi network, finds other nodes, joins the cluster, and it starts actors which manage the lamp, which detect the switch, and which manage the LEDs. And now basically it's ready, and if I go into emergency mode in any of these guys, then they all start blinking. Happy little bunnies. Beep, beep, beep. Very robust. So you see that latency is really good. It interrupts this, switches off right away. And they all work the same way. So this could be anything. This is now just a demo of a Morse code signaling. It could be an alarm system. It could be temperature sensors. It could be control of devices in a factory. So far we've been testing this for about 3 or 4 days, and we've had no Wi-Fi failures, no issues with stability. This little Wi-Fi network is surprisingly powerful. So there you are. All the source code is on GitHub. Follow the link below, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
So that was his last demo. Now I think I still have 1 or 2 minutes. So Peter was kind of after he passed away, I discovered he was member of Mensa, which is the high IQ organization. I think he was a very intelligent person. For me, it was like one of my reference. And he published, I think, a week before passing away, he published a summary of his life with all those software projects that he went through, where he failed, where he succeeded, what went well, what went wrong. And for me, it's kind of a guide, because I think most of us are professionally in software development or in IT, and you have this kind of request from your boss: can you make this impossible? Some kind of mission impossible. And at the beginning, he was accepting anything, but after some time, he said, yeah, basically, he could see in advance what would work and what would not work. So I think you can learn a lot in your daily life from the recommendations that are in this book. So before I came here to FOSDEM to present the memoriam that I'm going to give at 6 p.m. this evening, I had to go. So this book is available online for free on PDF and EPUB. But Peter still has 3 kids who are very young. So I would encourage you, if you have, you should basically. I encourage you to buy his books, and there's also a PayPal account if you want to donate some money for the kids. I think the money is going to be well used when they grow up. As the smallest one is 5 years old, and yeah, that's a very sad situation. So I wanted to say thank you, and I hope you will have an enjoyable Devroom today. Thanks very much.